What if you woke up in Westeros with nothing? No house, no gold, no allies. You'll battle thieves, beg for work, bleed for strangers who don't trust you. This is life for 100 days as a hedge knight in the Game of Thrones era. If you enjoy, subscribe. Day 1. You don't wake up in a bed. You wake up in the hollow of a rotting oak, the only thing keeping the freezing rain from soaking your gambeson to the bone. No squires, no stone walls, just wet bark, cold mud, and the crushing realization that you're starving. Your armor is mismatched and thin, orange rust clinging to the edges like proof of your poverty. Your first priority isn't glory, it's calories. You ride toward the nearest village, and the small folk stare at you like you're a wolf that learned how to stand upright. A lone armed man is either protection or a threat. You trade a copper buckle for a bowl of gray pottage that tastes like dirt. That night, you sleep with your sword in your hand, because in this life, closing both eyes is an invitation to die. Day 2. You seek work at a manor, but the gate guards laugh at your blank shield. A knight of nowhere, they call you. Desperate for coin, you accept a job from a village bailiff to settle a boundary dispute between two farmers. You stand there, in rusted tin, acting as a hired threat for a piece of salted pork. The farmers glare at you with hatred. That's when it hits you. Without a house behind you, you're not a protector. You're just violence for rent. Days 3 through 8 are a lesson in the cruelty of the road. Your boots leak. The damp softens your skin until every mile burns. Your horse throws a shoe, and you're forced to walk beside him, armor digging into your collarbones. In a small hamlet, you find 3 thugs cornering a merchant and his daughter. You don't have a lance or a charge, just your feet and your blade. A club caves into your shoulder and buckles metal into flesh, but you don't stop. You smash a pommel into a face and draw steel. The sight of a man willing to die for nothing makes them flee. The merchant can't pay you in gold, but he gives you bread and a thick cloak. Day 9. On a narrow stretch of road, you meet Sir Osric. He forces your horse into a muddy ditch and rides on. You spend the day gnawing bitter acorns and failing to trap a squirrel. That night, staring into a weak fire, you consider selling your sword, the only proof you are a knight, for one warm bed and a full stomach. This is the real battle of a hedge knight. Day 11. Rain pours without mercy. Your armor chafes open sores on your chest. Fever creeps in. You huddle in another hollow tree, shaking so hard your teeth rattle against your helm. If you die here, no one will know. Days 12 through 18, you survive like a scavenger. You strip gloves from a week-old corpse on a forgotten battlefield. You guard a salt merchant through a forest pass, sleeping lightly with your hand on your hilt. It's miserable work, but it buys oats for your horse. And in Westeros, your horse is your life. At a crossroads, you hear rumor of a great tourney at Ashford Meadow. A tourney is a slaughterhouse dressed as a festival, but it's also a chance for a nobody to win a name. Day 19. By a stream, you grind notches from your brittle blade and whisper the name Sir Osric into the steel. You're not going for prize money anymore. You're going for him. Day 20. You reach Ashford Meadow. Banners snap in the wind. Laughter and coin fill the air. You pay your last copper for space in a stable corner and sleep in straw, staring up at silk tents you'll never own. Day 21. You invent a lineage. You tell the herald you're the Knight of the Iron Road, son of a man who died fighting in the Stepstones during the War of the Ninepenny Kings. He laughs at your rust and blank shield, but your silver spends the same as any lord's. Day 22. The melee is chaos. 20 men collide in a storm of iron. A mace cracks your chest plate and sends splinters into your side. You trample a rival about to kill a fallen squire, because ransom is worth more than mercy in this world. You don't win the grand prize, but you win silver and a real tempered steel helmet from a man you unhorsed. For the first time, you look like you belong. Days 23 through 35. You repair your gear and travel into the Stormlands. Day 36. You meet Lord Alaric Connington of House Connington, whose banner bears a red griffin. He sees your scars and offers coin for service scouting the northern woods. For the first time, you fight for something bigger than your next meal. Day 37. You eat by the horse lines, while high-born knights feast at long tables. You're useful, but you're not one of them. Day 38. Ordered to requisition supplies from a village, you find soldiers terrorizing small folk. When one raises a hand to strike an old woman, you stop him. The captain calls you soft-hearted. But if you don't protect the helpless, what are you? Day 39. You're cast out from the main camp for your defiance. Alone by your fire, you realize honor is the only thing keeping you from becoming a bandit with better armor. Days 40 through 70 are frozen hell. Mud swallows boots. Your horse coughs blood. You sleep in armor to survive night raids. You save a squire from an ambush, but his noble father never thanks you. Then Sir Osric arrives at camp and accuses you of stealing your armor from a corpse. The high-born believe him. Your tabard is ripped away. You're thrown back into the storm. Day 71. You're 5 miles from camp when you see it. The sky isn't dark anymore. It's orange. A dirty, pulsing glow bleeding into the clouds like a wound. And you hear it. Screams. The kind that come from men dragged out of sleep. The enemy has launched a midnight raid on the camp that just cast you out. The same men who stripped your tabard are now burning in their own tents. Day 72. You sit there in the cold, the wind cutting through your cloak, watching the glow grow brighter. You could ride the other way. You owe them nothing. They humiliated you. They believed a liar over your blood. Sir Osric is in that fire somewhere, probably hiding behind silk while better men die for him. You could let House Connington burn and tell yourself it isn't your fight anymore. But then you remember day 1. Starving, shivering, choosing to stay a knight when it would have been easier to sell your sword and disappear. Being a knight isn't about who claims you. So you turn your horse around, and you ride toward the fire. Day 73. The camp is a nightmare. Tents are collapsing in flames. Horses tear free from their lines, eyes rolling white. Men stumble half-armored into the dark, only to be cut down before they can find their footing. You see enemy sellswords moving like wolves, fast and deliberate, cutting command tents first. You dismount and grab a fallen spear from a dead infantryman whose blood is still warm. You shout orders like you've been giving them your whole life. Shield wall, close ranks, push toward the supply wagons. Some men hesitate when they see your blank shield, but you are not hesitating. You are already moving toward the thickest fighting, and slowly, one by one, they rally behind you. Not because of a banner, because you aren't afraid to stand. Day 74. The enemy hits you like a wall of iron. Heavy shields, broad blades. Men who planned this raid for weeks. Your old sword, the one that's carried you since the hollow oak, finally snaps at the midpoint when it slams into a reinforced kite shield. The shock rattles up your arm. For half a heartbeat, you are unarmed in the middle of hell, but you don't fall back. You grip the broken steel and drive the jagged end through the slit of a visor at arm's length. You fight in mud that's turned black with blood, boots slipping over bodies you don't have time to recognize. A mace caves into your side and steals your breath. Another blow rings against your helm, so hard your vision flashes white. When the Connington cavalry finally charges through the smoke, you are still standing, barely, over a pile of the dead. You saved them, not as a knight of their house, as a knight of nothing. Days 75 to 90. You wake up under canvas instead of trees. Your armor has been cut off you. Your body is a map of bruises. Lord Alaric Connington visits you personally. He tells you the truth. The entire camp saw Sir Osric flee when the first arrows fell. They saw you ride back in. They saw you hold the line. In front of the assembled host, still bandaged and barely able to stand, you kneel. For the first time in your life, you are claimed. Day 91. The cheers fade quickly when the fever sets in. The wound in your leg from the melee has gone black at the edges. It throbs with a deep, sickening heat that doesn't fade. Your lungs feel tight. Every cough scrapes like broken glass. Day 92. Sir Osric returns to camp, dressed as though nothing happened. He laughs too loudly, buys drinks, whispers to captains. You see him from across the yard. When his eyes fall on the red griffin painted across your shield, the color drains from his face. He understands before anyone says it. His version of the story is dead. Day 93. You do not wait for lords to debate honor. You challenge him publicly. For slander. For cowardice. For the ditch. For every word he spat at you when you were nobody. Days 94 to 98. You try to prepare, but preparation is cruel when your body is failing you. You lift your new sword and your arms tremble. You walk the perimeter of camp and have to stop every few minutes to breathe. Nights are worse. Sweat soaks your bedroll while you shiver under blankets. You stare at the griffin shield leaning against the tent pole and realize something unbearable. You finally earned what you chased for 90 days, and you might not live long enough to carry it. Day 99. The duel takes place in the cold morning air. Frost still clings to the edges of the field. Osric looks strong, rested, polished. You look like a ghost wearing armor. The first clash rattles through your bones. He circles, patient. He sees the weakness in your stance. He waits for you to collapse on your own. But you have walked through hunger, humiliation, exile, and fire. You have fought with broken steel in blood-soaked mud. And as the roar of the camp rises around you, your vision tunnels and the world tilts sideways. Day 100. You don't stay for the feast. The smell of roasting meat turns your stomach. Songs sound distant and unreal. You mount your horse slowly, too slowly, and ride away before anyone thinks to stop you. You follow the road back to the hollow oak where this began. 100 days ago, you were nameless and starving. Now you carry a masterwork blade and a shield painted with the red griffin of House Connington. You made it. 100 days. You finally understand the truth of it. Your leg no longer holds your weight. Your lungs burn with every shallow breath. Your horse lowers itself to the ground beside you, coughing weakly, fighting the same fever you carry. The road took your strength. War took your body. Honor took everything else. You survived 100 days as a hedge knight in Westeros. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the brutal reality of life in Westeros, make sure to like the video and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. And it tells me you want to survive the next 100 days.